Okay, now we have a last thing. Okay, you have to pardon me. I was had a long week. A long week. So we are going to pick up our study this morning out of the book of Proverbs, going back to Proverbs and chapter 20. We covered, I think, a big part of Job. And I think we covered enough to where we can go back to it later. We don't have to. We can't go back later. We can go back to it later. I looked at it last night and I started to come back to go back and finish up chapter 3. Finish up going to chapter 4, but we covered the basic parts of Job and the reason why things happen. We got a better understanding of it, and we can go into it a little bit more as you read through Job. If you have questions, let me know, and we'll go back and we'll adjust those questions. Okay, you read it.
Okay.
And if you have anything questions, just bring it back in, and we'll go back into it and see.
Okay.
So we're gonna go back into Proverbs chapter 20, and here we're at a point now in Proverbs where Solomon is talking about reproofing, I say, or dealing with foolishness, dealing with foolishness, and how to perceive certain things that goes on around us, and how we are going to be seeing some things. Some people have to like to be seen and heard, not seen and not being heard. They want to be seen and heard. And they got foolishness that goes on in and around us. Because I think we ended up in chapter 19, and the last part of chapter 19 was dealing with judgment, prepare for scorn and strife, for the back of fools. Judgment is set up and set allowed. But see, some people can act foolish. Some people can be a fool, but they come out of it eventually recognize that this is not working. But there are those who just don't care and just continue to go on. And Solomon said that there's something set up for them. So stop trying to change it. We have a habit of trying to change folks. And we need to stop trying to change folks. So I think in verse 28, he says, the ungodly witness scorns judgment, and the mouth of the wicked devours inquiries. Now, the reason I got those two verses is because we go into verse 1 of chapter 20. You'll see how that just flows right into 20, because you have to remember when the scriptures were written, they weren't written in chapter and verses.
That's right.
They were just written.
That's right.
So you have to go, when you start a new chapter, go back and read a couple of verses before, so that you'll see how it rolls into it. That gives you a better understanding of what that chapter is saying. A lot of us just grab a chapter and start reading it, but those chapters, when you start a chapter, it's always referring back to the chapter before. Because the scrolls, at that time when it was written, they didn't write them in. They didn't write chapter 20. They didn't write chapter 21. No, they didn't start one after another. They just went into it. And what the writers and the translators did is they broke it down in chapters and verses in order for us to understand. But I feel like we get a better understanding if you're going to start reading a different chapter, and you decide in your studies, I'm going to read chapter so and so in Romans. I'm going to read chapter 12 in Romans and study chapter 12. Well, go back to 11 and read the last 3 or 4 verses of 11 in order before you go to 12 to get an understanding of what Paul was saying. because you're only going to get one part. You're only going to get a part of what's being said. So always go back a few verses before you start a new chapter. Or if you're just going into a chapter, if you're going through chapter by chapter, it wouldn't matter. But always, if you start, if you're not going to study a certain chapter, go back a couple of verses. Yes, ma'am.
No, you're right, because I do that. I may read a little, but then I go back to the beginning because I get two understanding. Every time I read, I get another different.
Right. Well, you're going to get an understanding of whatever you study out of the Bible. I like this is where the preachers come on. He says that the Bible is pregnant. Mm-hmm. It's always giving birth.
Oh,
yes, sir.
Something new.
And you can read certain parts of it and you get one understanding. Yeah. And you can go back and read it again and get a different understanding of something else. Because the Spirit's going to reveal something different. So he said it's constantly giving birth to new things. It's something new. So, but what I'm saying is if you think about something, somebody say, well, go to chapter so and so and you go to chapter 12 and in Romans and read that and they give you understand. Well, if you're going to do that, go back a couple verses 11 to come into a good understanding. So that's what I'm trying to get to see. The reason why I went back these few verses, because when you go into it, like you look at it, you'll see. He said, "Your judgment is prepared for the scorn and scorn and stripes on the back of food." Wine is a marker. Strong drink is raging, and whosoever is deceived hereby is not wise.
There you go.
My other one read it a little different way, but understand.
Yes, Lord.
People get bold when they drink.
Yeah. Real bold.
People's attitudes change.
And they say what they
they say what they would.
Yeah.
So he says, wine is a mark. If you start people start mocking you. People say things mocking that they wouldn't say if they were sober.
Right.
And so strong drink is rage. And people get mad when they drink because their understanding goes away. Reasoning goes away. Their mind have no patience. All that goes away.
My Lord.
So any little thing you know set them off.
Yeah.
So here again, Solomon's talking about. He told you about scoring the stripes for a fool, and he said, "Let you know what a fool looked like." Compare a person act a fool. Sometimes that person has to be drunk to act a fool.
Yeah, but you said, I want what a fool look like.
What
you just said.
What a fool look like. Did he tell you what a fool look like?
Just go outside and look.
That's what they tell you what a fool. Everybody just told you what a fool look like. A fool is will mock. Will mock you for no reason.
Oh, okay.
A fool would have rage issues that you can't even talk to them. They just get upset about anything.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, it don't. What I'm saying is, you used to drink, but this is what a fool looked like. A fool, when the person acting a fool, he said, "You are really acting a fool." Yeah. Well, that's what it is. They get angry over nothing. They will mock you to try to get you angry.
I want to ask you another question, but I don't want to.
Go ahead.
I mean, when I used to drink, I cried. I always cry. I don't know why, but I'd just be crying.
Well, that's the purpose. That is the purpose of a fool. I'm not acting foolish.
I cry.
Is to get you upset. So he said, "Whosoever is deceived hereby is not wise." And let's look at that. Whoever deceived is not wise. If you don't understand what a person is doing when they're trying to get you upset, when they are saying things to mock you and saying things to try to get you to go off, what it is, you have to understand the purpose of a person. Sometimes people do these things just to get you off.
Okay. Understand.
And Solomon said, don't be deceived by what people are doing all the time. People in the church can do that to you. They just want to see you, just see how you see how you act. I had when I was in the military, I was in the Navy, but we had our commander was a Marine lieutenant, was over my division. The Marines would test you constantly. If I wanted to be tested like that, I'd have joined the Marines, but I joined the Navy. Just so happened, I ended up in the gunnery crew. So I was training with different type of weapons, and the person that was over our division was a Marine lieutenant, and he used to mock us. He would take things and do things to you to see how far you were willing to go. Where were your tolerance?
Yeah. Snap.
Yeah, before you snap. And people do that to you today.
Yep.
But Solomon is saying here, whosoever is deceived, hereby is not wise. A wise person understands what is going on. A wise person take a step back.
Yeah.
When somebody's doing that, they say, okay, especially if it's somebody that is normally don't do things that way.
Okay.
Somebody that that normally won't just mock, see how far they can push you. So Solomon is saying, don't be deceived. If you're deceived, if you use the wisdom or use the understanding that God gave you, you would understand what is going on. Because he goes on in the next verse. The fear of a king is a roaring of a lion. We covered this in chapter 12. Similar verse thing. Whoever provokes him to anger sinneth against his own soul. People try to stroke you, try to mock you, try to do things, try to provoke you into a rage, and he uses a drunken rage, because you ever seen a drunk upset?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
That's what he's talking about. This is what he's talking about. A drunken rage. And a roaring lion. A lion roars for two reasons. One is to let somebody that's in his territory know that he's there.
Yeah.
And the other to let you know you better get out of the way.
That's right.
I hate you.
So don't mess with me.
I thought one was for female calling.
I thought that too.
No,
You
it's
don't roar, they just make a little noise.
you just make a little noise.
I let them know that that's his territory.
But if you look at a lion, they're roaring. They're roaring because they are not roaring. They're actually breathing in.
Oh, I know that.
They're not blowing out. They're breathing in, and it travels over a distance. So that's letting you know this is my territory. Get out of my turf. Get off my turf. And if you're there, you're gonna let you know. You ever seen these nature reserve where the lion is coming at another lion? He's roaring as he's coming at him.
Yeah, and high.
He's trotting
Yeah.
and he's roaring.
Uh-huh.
He's saying, "Okay, get off my. You're in my area now." So he said, "The fear of a king is as the roaring of a lion." The fear. So if the lion comes at you, it's time for me to leave.
Yeah.
So same thing. Whoso provokes him to anger sinneth against his own soul. If you provoke a lion and you stay there, you better give your butt to God, because it's your body belongs to him. So it's the same thing. It's the understanding. It's understanding what is happening around you. It goes back to two verses tied together. It's the understanding what is happening around you. If you're in the jungle and you hear a lion, you understand that you need to get somewhere else. If you're somewhere where somebody's just trying to provoke you to anger, to get a reaction out of you, it's time for you to just back up and say, okay, All right, let's do a Chinese guy. Proverbs guy said, made a statement. He says, what was it? He said, Vicky.
Can I ask you a question?
He said, wait a minute, hold on. He said that when someone is acting up as you said two things. There's two things you need to do. One is to look them straight in the eye.
Yeah.
The second thing is not to say nothing at all,
That's what
or just say okay. Look them in the eye and just say okay,
Yeah.
and that would diffuse any
That'll
action.
make them think.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I want is that the same way with a bear?
I don't know.
They say you're not supposed to, you be in front of a bear, do not run from this bear. You're just supposed to stand there.
That's what he said. But I just heard a guy that did that and got torn up.
But I saw, but they say you're not supposed to run.
I couldn't.
That's TV.
I said that, but a bear, but
Okay.
a bear is like any other animal. It's gonna let you know that you're in the area and you must leave before they do anything. But
Back up and get up. Don't
Yeah,
turn
go
around.
slow, don't run.
but we have to understand the point that Solomon is trying to get across to us is there are foolish people out there. I think the world today would be in a better condition if we understand what people are doing.
Yeah.
It'd be less killings and less shootings and less things. We are in a reactionary society today. In other words, we react
Yeah, we go now.
instead of think about things. We're in an area today that's a reactionary type setup. And we need not to be reacting to everything that's going on. We need to get to the point where we don't react to everything. Somebody says something, we got a reaction to it.
Yeah.
We feel like what you said, we all have to react to. And what you said, sometimes what you said does not require a response from it. Is what that's what I think about. That's my opinion. But I feel that it kept me out of a lot of incidents because I didn't need to react to everything that you said or did. What you said and done, or what you said and do, is you. But today when we got our youngsters are in a reactionary saying, you do me, I'm gonna do you.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
And they start doing, this is something they didn't start doing. They didn't start doing that.
It's not only the youngsters that's doing that, too. Grown-ups does that.
That's what I'm saying. They didn't just start doing that. They had to get it from somewhere.
Yeah. They have to see somebody else do
That's what she said we're all leading up to. They had to get it from somewhere.
it. Yeah.
And we are the prime example to our kids as they're growing up.
That's right.
You can have the goodest child in the world, and something will go wrong with that child. You be thinking that child is good.
Yeah, but we are the programmers of that computer.
Yeah. That's right.
Okay,
Other stuff they
the child's mind is like a computer. When they build a computer, they build a hard drive, there's nothing on there.
That's right.
Somebody has to take and put information on that system in order for that system to react the way it's reacting. A child's mind is the same way. Somebody has to put something in that child's mind in order for the child to learn how to react.
Yeah.
So they didn't just start acting that way. We start teaching them to act that way because they start watching us react.
And a lot of times, you teach them right at home, but where they get this bad stuff at is school.
Yeah.
If you want to be hanging out with us, you got to do this to get in the game.
Yeah.
They get the bad stuff from school. They know what they taught, and they know the right way.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
But to be my friend, you got to do this.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's one way of looking at it, but the other way is this. What they call
Bullies.
the influence from other kids can persuade them. But the Bible tells us, train up a child in the way to go, it should not depart from it. So if you're putting that training into them at home, when somebody tell them to do something, they would probably may do it, but they'll hesitate about doing it. But what I'm talking about is that reactionary thing. Now, their kids are just reacting to something. You do something to me, I'm gonna do something to you. Or you say something to me, you don't supposed to say that. You don't supposed to say, you don't supposed to call me a name. You don't supposed to do this. They get that reaction from home, because at home we react to things, and the child is watching us react to things. It starts off with, or they talking about the act on the street. They learn that from the peer, what they call peer pressure. Okay, that's one thing. But if they're the Bible said, "Turn the child away, she's going to do not depart from it." With me, that even with that peer pressure, they're not going to depart from that training.
Yeah.
And I'm only talking about my personal experience. My mom taught me, my mom and dad, she was showing me certain things. And I feared my mother so much. I don't care how much peer pressure you put on me. If I thought I was going to get in trouble when I get home, ain't no way you're going to get me to do that. I feared my mama more than I did this.
Back then we were stronger, but nowadays kids,
Yeah, but mama put the fear of God
they
in.
don't care about you no more. They say it's only gonna last for a minute.
You know, back in those days, you have neighbors. And no law was that
Yeah.
child. They think that your mama is working or something, and she don't know what you're doing. You're supposed to be in school, and you out there having a good time. There's somebody out there.
Oh,
watching
yeah, there's
you.
always somebody
It's a
going.
neighbor before you get home. You gonna get a whooping because they done told what they done saw you do. You on the street.
But it's always this though, and I truly believe this. The Bible tells us, bring up a child in the way it should go. I truly believe that whatever you put in that child, the way that God has to, if you do the things the way God said and you put it into that child, it's always going to be there.
Yeah.
And it's always going to, and it's going to keep. I know for me, it kept me out of a lot of incidents because I feared not only mom, but I feared God. I mama put the fear of God in me, so I feared God also. What was it going to do? So it kept me from doing a lot of things. Other thing too is that I tell you guys all the time, I'm a drug baby. I was drugged at Sunday school, I was drugged at YPWW, I was drugged at Sunday school, I was drugged.
Okay.
I was drugged. In other words, you had to go. You wouldn't ask. My mama said, "This is not a democracy.
No, you have to go. Bible study.
This is not a democracy. You have, you got to go."
Every night.
Amen.
So we have to understand what he's saying. So these things here, what Solomon's saying, he's talking about a wise person using understanding. And the way you do that is use the understanding God gave you. Wisdom is God-given. Understanding is God-given but taught. You cannot draw on something that you don't have. He said the Holy Spirit will bring all things to your remembrance.
Yeah.
But you have to have something that the Holy Spirit brings back to you.
All right. Come on, say it.
You get me? So it has to be put there. And I still think what I'm saying is it's put there from early stage.
Yeah.
And what we need to do is get back to that point of putting that into our kids in the church. Because we learn a lot of it in the church. I learned a lot out of the church and people around me in the church.
Yeah.
And the caring, the nurturing, not only that I got at home, I got that in the church also.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I have that when sometimes I can be at home and it's like my mind wanders, but it's like this here, I'm thinking about what I used to do a long time ago when I was a child. It comes to me, and when I was going to school, and I say to myself, why is this coming to me? You know, all this coming back what I used to do when I was a child.
You got to pass it because you need to pass it on. You hit it and not use it.
Yep, it's the best. Say it again.
You hit it and now you're not using it, so it's bringing it back to you so you can start using what you learned. Okay.
I just like to know, you know,
That's what it's all about. But this is what they're trying to let us know. You shouldn't be able to be provoked. In other words, if you provoke the king, he's going to come back at you. There's a thing going on in Russia now where Vladimir Putin was just misusing his one part of his army in just like Ukraine, where he had that malicious force now and saying enough is enough. So they're turning to going back at him. And the guy was saying they woke up a raging lion. Because this man has less morals than Putin has. He don't care. And his troops are the people that the troops he commanded was prisoners that was in prison, people that was guys that was in prison. They have nothing to lose. They have more to gain than to lose. So you have to understand that you can't continue to provoke people. And you get a response if you do. It's how you handle the response. How do you handle the response to something that's come up to you is what matters. And this is what God looks at. God looks at how you handle handles the response to some evil that's coming against you. How do you handle people that's trying to provoke you? But Solomon has given us an understanding of what to look for. You can handle something if you know what to expect. You know, it's like they was on one of the baseball players because one time they used to have somebody out in the outfield with binoculars that would look in, and there was just the 6 signs, and the batter would have an earpiece in his head, and he would tell them what pitch is coming. See, and so he know what to expect, what kind of pitch he had to know how to expect, and that's the whole idea. God has said, "God, get your binoculars." He's looking out there. He's looking at what the signs are, and he relaying those signs back to you. So now you know how to react to what's coming at you, how to respond to it. And this is what I'm trying to. How do you respond to a action? How do you respond to people that are provoking you? How do you respond to another fool? And he just told us out and out in the very first verse. Said, do not be deceived. Don't be deceived by what these people are doing. Because sometimes people are just trying to shut you off. So don't be deceived. And verse 3 says, it is an honor for a man to chase from strife. You know, in other words, man, you coward. You're scared. Good. Okay. There's nothing wrong with walking away from something.
You're right.
Solomon said it's an honor. Because those who have any kind of wisdom, any kind of understand it is easier to walk away from something than to get involved in, to moving. He says here, but every fool would be. Huh? Yeah. No, he said every fool would be medium.
Any fool will quarrel. I can't say the word.
But the word here is the same thing. The word I have here is the same thing. It's the same thing. So what he's saying is a person who is truly confident of his or herself is stronger. And don't need to prove who they are.
Nobody. To God.
No, they're stronger. A person that's truly confidence, if you're confident in yourself, you don't have to prove nothing to nobody. That's what this is what he's trying to tell. This is what you walk away from it, because if you're confident in yourself, I had it happen to me here. That's what you always do, walk away from it. No, I walk away from certain things. And the thing of it is knowing that confidence in yourself, knowing who you are. gives you the reason, gives you the strength to walk away. And he said a truly brave person does not look to change or to prove something to somebody. There are people feel like they have to prove something. I don't know, you have the old boxing match with Mike Tyson and George Foreman and all these fighters, the ones that should have retired, that kept on fighting, felt like they had to prove something. When all through their careers, they had proved who they were, proved they were champions. But they kept on fighting anyway. Muhammad, trying to prove something. But true confidence, true pride in yourself through God gives you the strength to prove that you don't have to show, that you don't have to prove anything, that you are who you say you are. A resourceful woman can find a way out of a fight. A man that endures will avoid entanglement.
Yes.
You get that? Mm-hmm. A resourceful person, a woman, I say a woman, but a resourceful person will find a way out of a conflict. Instead of trying to escalate it, they'll find a way out of it. And the best way to find a way out of a situation is listen and look at the situation. If the situation requires you being quiet, be quiet. If the situation requires a response, respond. If the situation requires walking away, walk away. But he said a resourceful woman can find a way out of a fight. And the reason why he sees women, because women can't find a way out of a situation. A resourceful woman knows how to settle a man down when he get upset.
All the time.
That's why they use a woman in this situation.
How big?
So,
Number 4.
a man of endurance would avoid. We use a man because a lot of men can endure a lot of things more than a woman can.
What's that word?
Huh?
What's that word? And read it again, please.
Endurance?
No, in number 4 you was reading.
Resourceful?
The plug, is that what?
What's
that word?
We haven't got number 4 yet.
Which word you read?
I thought you was on number 4.
No, he's on number 4, but
It's gonna be different.
he was just finishing. He just finished.
I thought you was on number 4.
No, I wasn't reading the verse. I was reading out of my notes. I was saying
Okay,
this is out of my notes. These are out of my notes. I was giving some ideas out of my notes. And that's what my notes are telling me. He said, foolish people find it impossible to stay out of fights.
Yeah. That was nuts.
That's what I was talking about earlier. Foolish people find it hard.
Yeah.
You hit me, I'm going to hit you back.
Yeah.
You take mine, I'm going to take yours. Tit for tat is what they used to call it. You right, Pastor Cross?
You got it.
Tit for tat. I'm going to get mine, you get mine, I'm going to get yours.
Right.
It's foolishness. So a foolish person finds it hard to stay out of a fight, or stay out of an argument. Because they don't look for a way out. And Solomon letting us know we have to look at the situation we're in, look for a way out. Know who you're dealing with.
Yeah.
Understand who you're dealing with. And this is what he's letting us know how to deal in life. This is life. This is life. Proverbs teaches us how to live.
Yes, sir.
This is life. We deal with this thing, these type of things. You're going to deal with this type of people all the time.
Yeah.
He's trying to tell us, trying to teach us throughout the Proverbs how to deal with things in our life. See, we take scripture for the wrong reason. The Bible is written to teach us how to live.
Come on, say it. Amen.
See, we take the Bible and say, well, the way to get to heaven. Well, yeah, it is a way to get to heaven. It's a way to get closer to get
Basic
to God.
instructions.
But it tells us God put us here. And what he did was he put people to write stuff for us to let us know how we should live in this world. But the whole thing, what happened is we done got away from the book that teaches us how to deal with things. That's why we're in the situation that we're in. The Bible tells us how to live. And this is what Proverbs, if you read Proverbs tell you how you should live, how to deal with things. If you study Proverbs, you'll learn how to deal with folks. I don't care whether you're a pastor, whether you're a bishop, whether you're a member of a church. If you live in this world, this is Bible, the Proverbs will tell you how to live with folks. And all he's telling us is how to deal with foolish people. And the reason why he wrote it because he knew there was going to be foolish people in this world. See, God had already made plans. He when he created us, he saw what happened to Adam and Eve. He said, "Oh man, what have I unleashed on this world?" And then when he couldn't change, he said, "Well, let me get rid of it and start all over again."
Yes, sir.
He got rid of everyone, got started all over again.
Yes,
He said,
sir.
"Oh Lord, these people just would not change."
That's
So he
right.
figured, well, I'm not going to destroy them again. I think I'll just put something up in to teach them on how they should deal with things, how they should live. So he inspired the scripture to be written. He had people pass down his word. He had people living 400, 500, 600, 900 years.
Yeah.
So that they can pass down what it was. Instead of living 60, 70, 80 years and then no, here's what I want my people to know. Then he said, they will keep them people here for 900 years. That way, generation after generation after generation would get that word. So after he cut down the time, he wrote his word. And they tell him, all we have to do is read. And then he said, I'll give you pastors and teachers after my own heart. So if you have somebody that, if you didn't understand, you got somebody to teach you. To help you with it. So it's a process. And I do believe that the church has to get back to that process.
That's right.
That God had laid out.
Yes, sir.
And he laid out in his word. I only showed three verses, but I think I done went. But it's a process.
Yes, sir.
That we have to understand. See, men and women are created. Are created. What kind of person are you? Is what we have to look at. Let's step back and ask, what kind of person are you? Are you one that's easily deceived, easily set off, that's easily manipulated? Or are you the kind of person that will step back and analyze and see what is going on around you? Or are you the type of person that's going to step back and see what people are saying before you go off? People don't even take time to even hear a sentence all the way out before you go off.
Me? I don't even want to hear.
Before you even complete it. I be on with some people all the time online. And I tell them, wait a minute, let me finish my statement first before you try to figure out what I'm going to say.
Go ahead. Doing good now.
They don't even let you get to the point. You're trying to make a point before you can get to the point. They already telling you wrong.
I apologize.
Huh?
I apologize.
No,
You ain't talking about you.
No, I do that sometimes, so I have to correct myself. You coming at me right, so thank you.
That's all right, as long as you learn something. That's it.
Learning.
As long as you learn something.
That'd be right.
But that's it. Some people, and that's what he asked. Would ask the question is, what kind of person are you? If you answer that question, then you can go back and say, okay, this is what I need to change. Just like you. Then I got to change. So this is what he's saying. This is what he's trying to tell us in that verse. The struggle would not plowed by reasons of cold. The struggles that we have is not prolonged by season, by reason. We have a problem. We have a hard time reasoning out. Our struggles are with reasoning out. He goes on to say, therefore shall he beg in the harvest and have nothing. And what he's indicating, he's a lazy person.
Yes.
He's a lazy person.
Yes,
You heard a warning.
Yes.
If you don't study, you'll fail the test.
Yes.
They should tell us that in school. They tell us in school. If you don't study, you'll fail the test. If you don't save, you won't have money when you need it.
Yeah.
Oh, Bishop.
God wants us to
Speak word.
achieve a future, to take care of the future needs.
Uh-huh.
Prepare for them. If you can't accept him to come, you can expect him to come to our rescue all the time, in all situations. See, we expect, well, God's going to handle it. I don't have to do anything.
She did.
Yes, she does.
But you can't expect God to come to your rescue all the time. You can't tell, I don't need to do anything in order for God to come to my rescue. Yes, you do.
Amen. Come on, speak.
You have to do something in order for God to come to your rescue.
That's right.
You have to show me that you're worthy.
That's right, man.
Are you worthy of my compassion?
Yeah.
I ran a business for 35 years. At one time, I had up to 45 employees, people working.
All right, sir.
I've had people, and I went through a bunch of people over the period of time. I must have went through hundreds of people over the time. And I read a lot of people that expect to be paid for not doing anything.
All right.
I have had guys come to me that you will call them
Yeah.
and say, I need you to, they're on temporary work, call them and say, well, we need you on this project.
Yeah.
They would come from 15, 20, 30 miles away to
Yeah.
get to the job site. They wanted me to pay them from the time they got in the car to the time they got to the job, to the time they got set up, to the time they started working. They're expected to be paid for doing nothing. They expect to be paid to get ready to go to work.
We want to travel expenses.
To get ready to go to work. We expect God to take care of us while we're getting ready to serve him.
Wow. Come on.
Yes,
say
sir.
it.
While we're trying to make up our mind whether we want to serve him. We want God to take care of us while we still not even ready to commit. You see? But it's our struggle will not plow the reason. That's like a man want to grow a garden, going to grow a field, a corn. But he don't want to get out there and plow the field.
Yeah. The plan.
You know, the plant.
That's right.
But he's thinking that at the end of the season he's going to get corn.
Yeah.
Somebody else to do it like my parents.
Amen.
They want to go but they want me to do it.
So we can't expect him to come to our rescue whenever when we call out, or we're called, or even when we cause our own problems through the lack of planning.
Come on, preach.
See, sometimes we are serving God, but we're just going to just doing things just haphazardly. I think I pronounced it right.
You got it.
Without planning for it. Plan a situation.
Come on.
I'm getting ready to go on vacation, so I'm trying to plan out my vacation plan, what I need. I want to make sure the car's running right. I want to make sure I have to. So now, if I decided I'm going to go on my vacation, and I'm not going to get out the door,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello.
I don't know what I just walked in on. I was kind of looking for something.
You can sit down.
Okay.
Amen.
See,
Bed.
Amen.
he said if you're planning a vacation, I'm planning a vacation, so I cannot, and I'm trying to make sure I got the right, get some more tires on the car and get everything set and ready to go. Now, if I just haphazardly say I'm going to go on vacation, jump in my car and take off, halfway down to Texas, I figured out I need new tires.
Right.
Lord, help me with my tires. God said, why do you expect me? You knew you needed tires. How come you left?
Yeah. That's why.
Right.
See, we expect God to jump to our rescue every time we do, and he said, you got to do something for yourself. You cannot haphazardly do things and expect God's going to bail you out every time you jump into it.
Right.
And a lot of people do that. A lot of people sit back and they feel like I'm saved, God's going to take care of me. No, he's not. God allows things to happen because you just talked about Job. Now you think all the trouble we talk about with Job, how Job lost all 10 of his kids got killed. He lost all his wealth. His family his wife turned against him. He got sick.
Come on.
All at one time.
Yes, Lord.
And never blame God for it. Why? And we found out why God didn't do it. He allowed it to happen to prove a point. He thought to prove a point. The point was Satan said that if I do these things, if these things happen to him, he's going to curse you to your face and turn from you. No, Gus, no, I know my people. I'm going to prove a point to you. You can do these things to him. He allowed those things to happen. God allows things to happen to get our attention because we take things for granted. We get in relationships with people and live with them for a while and then start taking them for granted.
Amen.
Don't we?
Amen.
You ever been married?
Yeah.
Been in a long-term relationship?
Yeah.
Tell me the people haven't done that.
All right.
We take things, it takes something to bring you back
Yeah.
to reality, to snap you back into reality.
All right.
So God allows things to happen to you to snap you back into reality. Then he has to also take things out of the way
Yes, Lord.
to make room
Yes, Lord.
so we can put something else in. Because we get wrapped up in these little such things that we put all of the things and we get our own little bubble.
Yeah.
And God can't put anything in because he got too much stuff there.
All right.
So sometimes you have to get all that stuff out. You ever get walked into a room
Watch out.
and you want to buy something new, and you say, "God, I can't put that thing in there. I ain't in the room."
That's what Gene said yesterday.
So you have to move that other stuff out in order to put something new in.
My cousin sent me 2 boxes the other day. I was going to open the door, there was a box. I open the door, there's another box. She sent me some big towels, little towels. And I looked around the house, I said, Lord, I got everything around here. Where am I going to put this stuff in the closet? This full of stuff of boxes I got to get out. I said, this is boxes, like you said.
God said that you have to, we blame God for things. But sometimes he has to move things out of the way. I told a story about how he had to bring me down because I had all this stuff, had money and had all this stuff. He took all that stuff out of the way, brought me down off the hill because I put more emphasis on what I had and what I was doing than I was him.
All right. Yes, sir.
And I did blame God when I started losing stuff, stuff started going away.
Well,
Then I had to realize what was happening. Eventually I started realizing what was happening to me.
yes, Lord.
Things started changing.
For the better.
Things start changing in my life. The direction I was going with it, things just started happening. Even though they was gone, there was other. I was losing things, but I was never hungry.
Right.
I was losing things, but I never was without clothes. I was losing things, but I always had I always had a place to stay. God, they finally realized that God said, I got to get you away from this stuff in order for you to do this. See, you can't do this with that stuff because your concentration, your emphasis is on what this thing is probably doing. God will move stuff out of your way. He'll move money, food, property, people.
Come on.
He'll move people out of your life. And all of a sudden they're not around. You go, what happened? I thought that was my friend.
You can see clearly now.
God said, that is not where I want you to be. You can't do what I want you to do with that person. Here's somebody here. Hang around with him. Hang around with her.
Yes, sir.
And they would help you get to where you need to be.
Yes,
He
sir.
placed me where he wanted to be in order for me to grow. And that's the way. So my point is, this is what Solomon is trying to give us here: how to deal with foolish stuff,
Sir.
how to react to foolish things, how to react to foolish people, how we should conduct, what to look for in our lives as we are living. So this is what he is trying to tell us. He says, counsel in the heart of a man is like deep water.
Right, sir.
But a man of understanding will draw it out. See, we go into Bible class, Bible study, or we go to the pastor, we go to somebody at the church that has some knowledge, and we ask them about a problem, the situation. They start counseling. When they start to counsel, you won't listen. Because they're not saying what you want to hear.
Talk, sir.
I don't want to hear all that. I just asked you one question. That's what I would say.
Oh, we go to church. We don't hear the message. We hear the message, but the preacher's not preaching what we want to hear. Let's say, well, I didn't get that. But what he's saying is a wise man, a wise person, a wise woman, listen to the whole thing. And they draw out of it what they need.
Right.
That's why he says, but a man of understanding will draw it out. In other words, they will draw out everything that's been preached, everything that's been said. It's not for everybody.
Right.
That's right.
Don't fit everybody.
That's right.
But it's something in what's being said that does fit you. So what you do is you listen to the whole thing until you get what's for you and you draw it out.
Right.
Once you draw it out, you use it. Amen.
Big dog.
They're big dogs. So, he's telling us that we must look with an understanding and listen totally to what's being said.
Yes, sir.
See, some of us only listen to part of what's being said and draw it, look at it with an understanding. He said, and draw out what is needed. Most men will proclaim everyone his own goodness.
Talk, sir.
Most men, not all. Most people will proclaim, will always talk about how good they are.
Go ahead, preacher.
I'm better than you. I can do this. I can do that. A lot of people, as he said, most people, not all, will do that.
That's right.
To proclaim their goodness. But a faithful man, who can find? In other words, a person that's truly good don't have to tell you how good they are.
Come on, say.
Sure.
You can see it. A faithful person don't have to tell you how faithful they are.
Show it.
You can see it.
Yeah.
See, the whole idea with Paul, Solomon said, we go out looking for certain things. And we listen to people telling you stuff. They tell you they can do this, they can do that. You know, when in my career, I used to have people come and tell me all the things that they can do, how good they are in this with this area.
Yes.
I had I was as an engineer, I used to lay out foundation and lay out different things for people. You know, I have some people come and tell me that's not the way it's done.
Yeah.
Well, I've been doing this for 100 years. I've been doing this all this time. That's not the way it's supposed to be done.
That's all right, Doc.
They're foolish. I listen to them and tell them no, but you're gonna do it the way I laid it out. I ain't have to tell you how much time I had, the experience I had doing this.
That's right.
All I'm saying is just do it.
All right.
Yeah, you do it.
I know that's right.
And when you do it, then you'll see what I'm saying is right. But there's a lot of people that talks and talk about how good they are, talk about things they do, but they're not. They don't have a clue.
That's right.
I feel you.
Go ahead, sir.
Say, do it instead of saying it. Proof, they have a saying, proof is in the pudding.
Yes.
Somebody said that, then I just want to say that proof is in the pudding. You can tell me how good that pudding is, all you want. I'll know how good it is as soon as I taste it.
All right. Say it.
Okay?
Say it, preacher.
So what Solomon is telling us here, a lot of people will proclaim how good they are. But you know how good they are when you taste and you see.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, because we've almost ran out of time anyway. So I said a paper man you can find. In other words, a paper person, you'll find it. And we're gonna stop it with after this week. The just man walks in integrity. His children are blessed after him. We talked about integrity last week. A person with integrity looks out for someone else. A person with integrity is going to show you who they are. They're concerned about you. They're not just going to say things to make you feel good. You see, his children are blessed after him because people are going to respect that person.
Yeah.
They're going to respect that person. The children. How many people we know that have passed away and the children come up behind and said, "Your father was this. Your mother was that."
Yeah.
And they are blessed because other people remembered
Yeah.
those people because there was people of integrity, people that you can look up to, people that you respected.
Yeah.
And your children would be blessed by that, respected from others, because they would give pass that on to their children, because the parents live with integrity. So this is what he's telling us, and he's telling us that we're blessed by it. So we're gonna start this at verse 7. We're gonna start at verse 7 and pick it up at verse 8 next week. Lord said the same. Hope you got to understand. Like I said, finish reading, and let me know if there's anything else we need. Anything else? What's the and
Find out who she is.
hi,
Over to us speaking now.
who you are?
I'm Nykel Williams.
Say that again.
Nykel Williams.
That's very
Stop it over here. We all kind of, see in the spirit, right? Walk by the spirit, talk by the spirit.
That's what she said.
He was saying,
Nykel.
he watches you.
Hmm? Pardon me? I didn't hear you.
Speak up in it out.
Oh, sir, over here. I'm sorry, what's your name, sir?
Special